And we're not even done unpacking because before we get into the game, Mase, I got to ask you, we started a little discussion yesterday. All the Shannon Sharpe stuff, for those who are watching this new episode, basically he was being accused of sexual assault. On the side, he tried to offer the victim $10 million. She declined it. Now they're trying to take 50.
Oh,
she declined it. Oh, he offered.
Look, I'm not saying he did it. But offering somebody $10 million for something you didn't do is crazy. But two, though, when you're dealing with these high-profile cases, he might feel like he might make $200 million from his podcasting career or from his job at ESPN. So he's willing to just pay some money to make this all go away so it don't affect his public image. That could be the case. But $10 million to somebody for something you didn't do is a lot of money. But I'm just a broke guy, so who am I?
Yes,
I'm just
$10 million. They declined it. They want $50 million out of the case.
God.
Audio files have been released. Text messages have been released. He released the video.
What is saying the audio? Because I want to make sure what I heard
something
was what
about
you heard.
choking her, and she was like, I don't want to be choked. And he was like, yes, you do. But he's claiming it was an edited audio file. It's a lot of different parts. And I know for the audience, I'm summing it up. If you want to know more details, it is online. But Mase.
His new, and also Mace's new audio came out yesterday. He said, you want a big back, I put a big black baby in you.
Man.
He said, a little white girl put a big black baby in you, or something to that effect.
Wow. This is a lot.
If he ain't guilty of SA, he definitely guilty of being a freak body. If he ain't guilty of SA, it is a freak apocalypse out here, brother. You gotta relax.
Where do we start? The girl is 19. He's how old?
54 or 56, one of the
50. Let's just say 50, in the late 50s, right? So he's in his late 50s. She 19. This is a lot. This is a lot because I know when I'm hearing people, they're like, "Well, this wouldn't have happened with a black girl." Let's start right there. With a black girl, he probably would have paid child support. There's a lot of things. It would have been easier. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not for this, but it would have been easier with a black girl if let's say she was from the projects. Her name was LaTanya. You know. He wouldn't have been paying what he's paying. I just know that much. Y'all think I'd be...
To be honest, just having audio files of somebody asking for consent to choke you and then saying, yes, you do, unless you can prove that they actually did choke you without your consent during the act, then you don't really have much to stand on. And from my information of this situation, she was meeting up with him multiple times. So if it was this evil predator or whatever they're trying to make him out to be, why are you consensually going up to meet up with this man tens of different times? Not once or twice. I got friends that I don't even see that much. I got guys that I know from my childhood that I don't even meet up with tens of times. And she met up with this guy tens of times over the course of like a year? Yeah, I mean, unless you can prove that he was non-consensually choking you during the act, then you don't even really have a leg to stand on by just releasing audio files of y'all asking for consent about it and him saying, yes, you do.
I'm not trying to see. This is why I don't talk.
By the way, I understand how it sounds. But still, you don't have any tangible proof still.
I'm not trying to make light. This is a serious matter, right? This is a real serious matter. Let's make it serious because I'm not trying to joke. People would say that a man only end up here when he's being arrogant, right? When people get a bunch of money, they think they could do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? I've been rich. I'm rich. Killer's rich. He's been rich. You know, a lot of people been rich and they still are rich, but I don't think we've ever gotten to the place where we're takers. You know, this is what I'm getting at. And for him to offer $10 million says that there might be some truth to this, because I'm not offering nobody no $10 million if I know I didn't do anything. And I think the only reason the $10 million didn't work, Killer, I want to know how you feel about this. I think the $10 million didn't work because the pimp need his cut. You know, just allegedly. I'm not saying there is a pimp, right?
See, the thing is, he isn't even guilty of being arrogant. he's guilty of his libido. I mean, there are literal stone tablets from ancient history that tells men, powerful men, that you got to be careful of your libido. Think about every successful man from Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, everybody. Almost every man, once they get to a certain level, they're going to get some level of allegation. Now, I'm not saying every guy, obviously, but it happens a lot. And there are literal stone tablets in ancient texts, biblical texts, religious texts, texts everywhere that tell men, if you get a certain amount of status, you better watch your libido. It ain't about his arrogance. He can be as arrogant as he want to be. But the moment he kind of oversteps that line, women are gonna get resentful and they're gonna go against him. That's really what this is. This is a bunch of women getting upset that a 19-year-old woman is selling coochie to an older guy. But if you are for 19-year-olds selling coochie, they're gonna sell it to older guys because those are the only people who buy the product. They're not sleeping with 22-year-olds. You get what I'm saying? Being for sex work and body autonomy, and then being upset that a 19-year-old woman is choosing to sleep with older men is a contradiction in values. You can't protest for weed to be legal and then be angry when people are going to the dispensary to buy weed. When you are pro-sex work, you are inherently saying you are pro-19 and 18-year-old girls sleeping with older men, because that's who they're selling it to. I don't get what people don't understand about this.
Let me give you. It's just an idea. This is just an idea, right? So if there's a pimp, right? Why y'all keep laughing? I know this is why they flew me back in. They wanted to know my take. But listen, all jokes aside. If the girl said I want 10, this may be the lawyer, right? Just hypothetically, all of these things, right? And the guy who put her on to Shannon was like, you didn't even know him. I put you on them. You didn't even know who that was. You was asking about college.
You was asking about college.
Yeah, this is your Thurgood Marshall right here. Him right there. For real? Yeah, that nigga worth a lot of money. You know how guys be, and they pushed her on her. And then she said 10. And he was like, 10 is my 10. You got to put in your number for yourself. That don't have nothing to do.
I have a contradicting belief. I think that if you're a woman and you're willing to do this type of work and you have like an OnlyFans, it already kind of speaks to your character enough that once you get a bag like $10 million, you're not going to be splitting that with anybody unless you have a strict contract. If you're already willing to turn your sexuality on Shannon Sharpe and he's been paying you, you're definitely going to turn and play the victim against the guy who might be controlling you behind the scenes. I don't think that this is any guy controlling her behind the scenes. I think she's just being greedy. I genuinely believe she's just being greedy.
Dude, 10 is mine. That's what we discussed. I'm just telling you, I ain't been out the streets that long. I know this is how peace think, you know what I'm saying? And if somebody's watching this and you know that behavior, you just put it in the chat and say it's Mase lying. And then another thing I want to look at in this whole entire case, right? I heard something about 50 or 25,000 a cheek.
25,000 a cheek.
That's what she texted him. She need 25,000 per cheek.
What are you doing with a cheek to pay 25? No, this is a lot. Pause. This is a lot to unpack. Just really thinking about it from an objective point of view. We pray all of this is like a fallacy or some kind of hoax or something like this, because he was about to get a bunch of money. And you know, when you're about to get a bunch of money, people that hate on you just wait until you're about to get that money and rain on your parade. But we can't say that. And that's why I wanted to say it, to get Stats' opinion. I knew when I said that she was gonna go, yeah. No, you can't be on your way to 100 million. I keep telling Killer, right? And niggas picking these kind of girls. You can't do that. We talked about this with Ant-Man. We talked about this with several players. You just can't do that. You about to get 100 million. You can't throw it away for an IG model.
Yeah.
Is she an IG model?
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. How does that work?
she got her separate account and she do her thing on there and people pay.
Is that the one like when people show their feet?
You can. It's whatever the client wants.
So just think about this. If he, what can he do at this point?
Nothing.
What, Killer, what can he do at this point?
Yeah, I pay.
Nah, no, he got to fight it and prove his innocence now. The only way that this goes away is if you try to lean on logic and get people to understand that I know you think that is nasty for guys to buy sex work, but if you are pro-sex work, I can pay for sex work. And that's what this is. This is a transactional relationship. There are young women who ain't got nothing to monetize but they looks, they want money, they want resources, they want opportunities, and there have always been older men who have had these resources and opportunities. And these two people choose to engage in a transactional relationship. And in my opinion, I think that's the best case scenario because what if this woman who only wants opportunities and money goes and marries somebody her own age or gets with somebody her own age that's looking for love in a relationship? She's going to ruin that guy's life. So, of course, the guys who have the resources that the women want are going to be these guys, and they engage in transactional relationships, and I think those are the best people for each other. A match made in heaven. Young women who want resources and older men who have access to resources, and they're willing to exchange whatever they're doing. But this is kind of throwing a wrench in it because it's allowing the women to double dip and get greedy. You signed up for a deal. You signed up for a transaction. Now you're trying to play the victim to get more out of the transaction. I think that that's unfair, me personally. If y'all been consensually, he's been paying you, it is what it is. I'm not for it. I'm not for it. I don't think it's good. But I'm saying if you're gonna allow it and you're gonna fight for it to be legal and you're gonna say that sex work is regular work, then you have to stay consistent with your belief. And if it's regular work, then Shannon Sharpe was just buying a T-shirt. Same transaction if you hold that opinion.
He's not wrong.
I don't want him to pay, but he already made an offer.
Who told him that? Who told him to make an offer?
I don't know. It must be bad if you want to make an offer.
I'm not making no offer. Niggas can say what they want. I'm not making no offer. Listen, I'm going to court. You gotta get it through the courts.
Yeah, listen.
That's how you supposed to do it. I'm not giving up no money.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like she wanted abuse. So to be fair about it, she wanted anal sex and got mad because he didn't put a condom on. It sounded like she wanted some. I would put it like this. My personal opinion is what I was rocking with. I was rocking with Shannon. Like, this is shakedown. Because he moved from Cali to Nevada. She moved from Cali to Nevada. And I was obviously 100% saying this some fucked up shit until I found out he offered money.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I was pretty much just having fun, but pause, after you say he offered 10, that changes everything.
Yeah, and then what he said also, I don't know if you know this part.
I didn't know that.
When he made his statement, he said it's going to be, he said, I believe what they're trying to do is going to be 30 seconds of a sex tape that comes out that's going to try and make me look bad. If you want to do everything, he said, I don't have the tape. But if you want to show everything, show the whole 10 minutes. He said, but 30 seconds of this tape makes him look really bad. So now we got audio of him saying he's choked her. Once he's going to choke her. And he says some slick shit to her that, little white girl, I put a black baby in you now, a violent 30 seconds.
I'm not going to lie. And I don't even want to bring race into it. But we got to be honest here. Them doing this race play stuff might get Shannon Sharpe in trouble. For a jury to hear that, full of white folks, that might rub some people the wrong way. And I know there are people out there like, I don't believe in race, but I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of people that feel that stuff to their core. And when you saying stuff like, I'm finna put a black baby inside of you, all that kind of stuff, if it's one or two people on that jury that are heavily, like, they might be very gung-ho about saving the white race, you know what I'm saying? Like, that type of mentality, it could happen. And if that does happen, that could flip a few people's opinion. Just him saying that right there. Why are you, bro? Turn your freaky down, bro. It's a freak apocalypse out here. You got to turn your freaky down. You're running it, man. He just caused this issue for himself, truly.
Tape supposed to come out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if I hope all of this is untrue. If it is true, then they gotta do something about this. If
By the way, it's 100% a shakedown because she recorded audio. Nobody previously records conversations unless they plan on using those conversations against you in the future. So it's definitely a shakedown. It's just a matter if they're going to let her get away with it. And there may be some things that he's doing and saying that might make this more distasteful. And because it's distasteful, people might count it as legally wrong, even though legally there's nothing wrong with it if you are for sex work. And the age of consent is 18. She's an OnlyFans model. She's a literal prostitute. So she's just engaging in prostitution. But some of the things he's saying and doing also might make it a little distasteful, but it's definitely a shakedown, for sure.
if ESPN can endure this, then they should give guys like Paul Pierce his job back. They should give Matt Barnes his job back.
Yep.
And even Michael Irvin, our own Michael Irvin, should get his job back.
Yeah.
If people are not just gonna, honor what they supposed to honor, to me, I believe that he should keep his job if he's innocent. But if he's guilty and ESPN keeps him, then ESPN need to give all those people their job back. But I don't really know how this is going to turn out.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's true.
All I saw really was the interview with Stephen A. when he was speaking of it. And I was watching it very carefully, Killer.
Stephen A. said something about this already?
Yeah, because Stephen A., he didn't stand with Shannon Sharpe like he stood with Jay-Z. When he heard about Jay-Z, he said, the guy I know, this is not true. When it came to Shannon, he was like, I wasn't there.
In a nutshell, yeah.
I gotta keep it static, you know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't there for Jay-Z neither. You wasn't there for Jay-Z. You were not there for Jay-Z, but you went out on a limb because of the character of guy you know. So I'm not saying that you're wrong for that. I'm saying I would have thought that the same standard would be there, right?
Well, maybe he doesn't know Shannon Sharpe as well as he knows Jay-Z, and maybe he just feel like Jay-Z can present him with another opportunity or a different opportunity. So if he sides with Jay-Z, he might get into, Jay-Z's a little bit better side because Jay-Z has a little bit more resources. I'm not sure. I'm just making an assumption there. I'm not sure.
For a guy you work with every day. Well, not every day, but,
Damn near.
And I'm not taking a shot at Stephen A. It's just an observation.
It does sound like you was taking shots at Stephen A. From what you saying, I didn't see Stephen A. shit, but what I'm gathering, what you said from Stephen A. said, he basically said, I don't know the nigga like that.
Well, I ain't putting my hundreds of millions on the line for him.
Yeah, he like, no, I want to hire the nigga. He a little freaky nigga. I don't really know the nigga that well, so. Whatever happened, or whatever happens. I already know Stephen A. He one of them people like, this is going to interfere with me. I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, Stephen A. is corporate.
He said, I recruited Shannon, but I'm not the boss. Basically, the other higher-ups have to deal with it. That's what he said, verbatim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, basically.
Is that throwing him under the bus?
A little bit, but not really.
In the streets, it's throwing you under the bus.
Yes.
But for corporate, he's not, because he's like, I hired you, and if I hire you and you do something crazy, then now ESPN is going to look at me when I bring somebody new in here like, can we trust my decision making? And I need them to know.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one thing about once you get to a certain tier and like an upper echelon type of mentality, is like your word is very important. And if you bring somebody in who compromises the situation, your word will not be as respected, or you'll have to earn your way back into your word being respected. So you inviting somebody else in or speaking of somebody's character can affect your character. So that's why it's tougher to put people on in opportunities when you're in higher positions, because you have to be very selective, because that person then has to perform. And if they do perform, it looks really good on your name. But if they do stuff that, like this, that could sabotage the situation, it looks horrible on you.
I brought him here on talent. I didn't bring him here on morals and principles. Because you got to remember, this whole situation, as the history goes, a couple months into the deal, when he brought him in there was already an allegation. You know what I'm saying? So now with this coming out, it's just like the second thing. Because remember, there's the tape. And
Yeah.
Walt
sex
Disney can't do that.
I agree with the part you said. Niggas that they fired for less.
Yeah, they fire a
Bring 'em
lot
back.
of people for less.
Yeah. Stephen A said, I don't know the nigga, huh? I got to go watch that. That's a
Yeah, but the messed up part is the $100 million. I hope he really get that $100 million. Well, let me ask you something, Killer. If you had $100 million on the table, and a joint from back in the days just say, you know what, I need 50. When you didn't wild out, but you said some things on tape you wasn't supposed to say. Not that you did, but and she said I need 50. What would be your response?
Take it to trial.
I would literally rather not get anything than just give somebody who didn't work as hard as me, trying to blackmail me, something for nothing. I would rather not have anything. I'm that type. I'll burn it down. I'd rather burn it.
A dollar, yo. I ain't got a dollar for none of them old bitches. Yo, listen, man. That's why I got an iPhone 3. I got everything. And I got it all. I got 3 desktops full of information, all my phones. I got Nextel flip phones. I got all that because I know for a fact that it's a lot of angry women that things may not have worked out between not just me, anybody.
Yeah.
And then you come up and then they're mad about this is a recent situation.
Yeah.
You're right. You're 100% right. It's a bunch of females that been back in the days. Not like I said, don't even gotta be me and be like, oh, this nigga up, he don't remember he did this, he did that to me, he did this. You have to keep your receipts, yo.
Yeah.
For everything, especially if you're right. If you're right, you have to. We're just in that world.
Yeah.
Think about this, even with the Puff shit, right? Lawsuit was coming out every 90 seconds. Every 90 seconds, a lawsuit was coming out to the point where they're like, ain't Jay-Z his man? Throw him in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it started getting crazy. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, this is a scary time for players.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
man.
a real scary time for
That's
players.
the whole thing. I don't think it's a scary time for players. Me personally. I think it's a scary time for niggas who don't know how to move right.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna say person like Puff, and I ain't jinxing nobody. I don't know his personal shit. Might be a little bit of karma with the shit he got going on. But when you somebody in newfound success, like I talked about this yesterday when you wasn't here, he has a different success now than from football. You attract a different audience. You gotta know how to move. You gotta know how to move when you're an athlete.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's good that you gave a take. I think that your take was really good. I'd say, but I had to say yesterday, I don't really have much to say today.
Yeah. Last thing I'll add, 2025, I said it before, I'll say it again. Healing. Hope people figure it out because there's a lot going on. And I promise y'all, this is not the start.
And then also, Mase, real quick, because Stat also said if you play in the snow, let it go.
Don't know how it's going to go.
You're not going to know how it's going to go. But she said she play in the
I
snow.
didn't say that. I didn't answer.
All right.
Yeah, everybody want to play in the snow till it's a blizzard.
Till it's a blizzard, it's crazy.
Nah, that's funny.
That blizzard comes, you're like, what I'm doing out here?
It's definitely a blizzard for niggas.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, you gotta still. I mean, you got a lot of money. You can't really date in the snow unless you're gonna marry. That is because they don't play by the same rules. They didn't have the same upbringing. So their mindset is to do whatever you ask because when it goes wrong, they gonna want their half.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna just say it's just the snow thing. Even just to this case, like ESPN, like if you are working for Disney, there's no Disney after
No,
dark.
I can
Like,
tell you right now, the biggest issue is that they're messing with women who don't mind taking advantage of men. That's the big issue. Because these aren't hoes. Like hoes and normal 304s, actual prostitutes, they want to do their job and they want to keep their clients' information private because they understand that they make more money from being good at their job, and that is to keep their clients' information private. These are women who are just opportunists. They're opportunists when it comes to OnlyFans. They're willing to sell their body to get what they want because they're materialists. They're opportunities when it comes to situations like this, and they're going to take advantage of it. That's what this is. These are women that hate men and that think that it's okay to lie to take advantage of men, and we have a system right now that absolutely supports them doing it. Not only do we have a system, but we have a popular opinion in our culture right now that also allows them to do it. And I do just want to say this one more time. If you are pro-sex work, you can't be anti-18-year-old women sleeping with older men, because that's what seems like is the actual issue with this. If the girl was 25, I think it'd just be more like, he was just paying for sex. It looks bad. Gotcha type of thing. But the fact that she's 19 really adds fuel to the fire, because a lot of people resent the fact that this older man is. There are a lot of older women that are jealous that this older man is entertaining younger women. And they painted out that he's a predator, but then they also say women develop their brains quicker than men. They also say women can do anything a man can do. They also say that sex doesn't have any connection or anything outside of just orgasming. This is what they say and believe, but once it's tested, they get angry at the man. Can't be pro-sex work and anti-younger women sleeping with older men. Doesn't work that way. And these are women that hate men and are opportunists and materialists. These aren't even actual hoes and prostitutes, because at least they got some type of dignity. We don't even got good prostitutes in this country anymore.
You have to know your role. I'm just saying,
You're
like,
right.
you
That's
got to
very
know
true.
what role you're in. Like, certain people can do different things. You cannot do that over there. Not with Mickey Mouse. That's the problem.
Not with Goofy.
Not with Goofy.
Well, see, that's the thing about it too. Not to cut you guys off. The money that he's part of negotiating has nothing to do with ESPN. He's just a talent on First Take 3 days a week. The money he's supposed to get is from Club Shay Shay, Nightcap. He got Bubba Dub's show. He has another show with somebody else. He has like 4 or 5 different shows. And the money that he's being offered has nothing to do with ESPN. So if this money, it's one thing getting fired from ESPN. If that's the case, like I said, I'm not wishing that on anybody.
Right.
But this contract that he's about to negotiate is from all his shows outside of ESPN, the internet. This has nothing to do with it. And that just goes to show how powerful that shows on the internet are. We talk about Stephen A. Getting $100 million working for ESPN or something close to it. And Shannon Sharpe is supposedly getting the same amount of money Stephen A. Smith is doing. And he's not even on regular linear television. That just goes to show when you work hard and do your shows on the internet, the check will eventually come. He got 4 or 5 different shows. That's where the money's coming from.
So
the older media can't compete because they're not fast enough. And they're too clean, I believe. I think now people want the real. I think people have been listening to fake talking heads for decades now, and now that people have an option to go to opinion, and now people have the option to hear a original opinion, or even an opinion that might be a little bit more risque, they'll choose to do that because they respect the risk of being able to say what you actually believe instead of just saying what you have to say to adhere to whatever you're doing on ESPN or whatever. People want the harsh truth. People want real opinions now, especially as the world gets, things get a little bit less stable in the country. You want to hear what's really going on now. You don't want to hear nobody just trying to talk and say the talking points that they've been paid to say. You want to hear people's authentic opinions, even if that comes with the inherent risk of saying something that might get you, quote unquote, canceled, whatever that even means anymore.
Still be able to get the 100 there.
Depends on
Because it ain't ESPN. Because every take that we're given is based on ESPN. If you're saying if that don't come from ESPN, then he should still be able to get some of that.
I mean, what I'm saying is this. Like, let's say, for instance, I still think...
Well, the brands might not want to be associated with him because this is on his image now, and that's a big issue. That's why these SA issues are always even more important to get rid of, because once you get SA stuff on your record and people start to see you as that, it can actually ruin your career. I know Louis C.K. dealt with a situation where he just isn't as big as he was before the situation happened. There are a lot of men that have been pulled off their high horse, have been absolutely destroyed because they can't control their libido.
He'll get a lot of money, but the people he's negotiating probably will cost him a few.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be 100, but you take this 67 because we going to lose a couple sponsorships behind this. Positive.
Okay, guys, I think that's the end of the video. I don't think that this is going to affect Shannon Sharpe's content. I think he's still going to put out good content. I don't think it's actually going to affect his fan base at all either, because the man's really guilty of just being a horn dog. So I don't think it's going to affect any of those things. At that point, it's just going to be whether the brands want him as the talking head with their brand being promoted by him, if you get what I'm saying. Again, though, I don't think it's actually going to affect anything on their end. It's just a matter of the association with the brand. And sometimes that's very important to brands. So we'll just see. But yeah, man, got to control your libido out there. Got to be selective about the women you choose to sleep with. If you're a man of any value, don't sleep with women who don't have value. Can't do it. It is open season for men who have any level of authority or power. It is open season. They act like there are not women that are willing to take advantage and lie about these certain situations in order to take advantage of the moment. They act like that just doesn't exist. So now, Shannon Sharpe is going to court against an innocent girl, is what other people see. An innocent 19-year-old, even though she actively chose to be a prostitute and do OnlyFans and sell her body. For $25,000 per cheek, you shut up. That's just generous, unless you're greedy and you just take guys to court to take advantage of them. Whatever. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L, and give me the HBO special. That's a Help Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.